tighter on this angle here, please, sweetheart.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome back. I am Ian, my lovely wife.
Rachel.
Okay. We're here to do another real talk, and I had said something earlier, and I wanted to unpack it a little bit, and so it was just quite simply that in life we often find that we're faced with some tough choices, and we would say in defense of our actions that we didn't have a choice, and we might even be right depending on the circumstance of the situation that we're in, depending on our correct conviction of belief. However, the message today, quite simply, is that we always have a choice. We might not like our choices. We may not like our choices, depending on the circumstances that we find ourselves in. We may not like our choices. However, we always have a choice. And that, of course, led me to say that, you know, the thing is about mistakes, you can only make a mistake once. After that, it becomes a choice. And then the idea, I guess, is to make fewer and fewer poor choices. So, which leads us to today's topic, really.
So what is just, yeah. Sorry, baby, I was
Mm-hmm.
spaced out there for a second. I was thinking about what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah, we're just making poor choices that it's not going to be the end of the world. It's up to you to decide, okay, I made a poor choice. Are you going to change the behavior? Are you going to hold yourself accountable and learn from that mistake and move on?
Or do you choose to stay in the behavior? I mean, that's a choice too, right? And more importantly, how do you walk away? Let's say we make a decision, we make a conscious decision and a conscious choice that, you know what, I'm no longer gonna make those poor choices. And I mean, making mistakes is a human thing. I firmly believe that if you're not making mistakes, you're not really living, because I mean, this is the way that we learn. Experience is the best teacher, right? And then we have the consequences. How you doing, Tony? Thanks for stopping in again, buddy. And then we have the consequences for our actions. However, a lot of times we don't want to deal with the consequences for our actions. We look at the family's doing great, brother. Thank you very much. How about you? We don't want to no one wants to deal with the consequences of their actions, and consequence is not a bad word or a four-letter dirty word. It's just a fact of life. If we have good actions, I believe we have good consequences. If we have poor actions, we have poor consequences. Poor choices is not the end of the world. We can recover from that. We can get back from that. We can decide. We can make a choice. We can choose. It's grace. God is good. It's grace. We can choose to not live in our past mistakes.
I think when you say past mistakes, I know everybody has a past, and you make those mistakes, or you make even repeated mistakes. However, when somebody shows you that they've actually taken accountability, they've done the work to address whatever the underlying trauma that caused the issue, and then caused the behavior. So once you deal with that trauma and then you get past that point of saying, well, that was a choice for me to make all those mistakes. However, I choose now to change my life.
I choose
So,
to walk forward in grace.
yeah. And so when people are able to, um, you know, change their behavior, start a new way of life, living a good life. And people try and hold them to those past mistakes. And I think when you see somebody that's not responding, especially when somebody knows how to trigger you, to get the response that they want. And if you can see that you're triggering somebody but you're not getting that response, that should be a light bulb in your head saying, hey, this person has changed their ways. They're actually doing, some work on themselves. Instead of trying to, keep pushing on and saying, hey, holding them in that past behavior, holding them to what you think they are still, or who you think you want them to be.
I mean, grace is allowing people to escape their past. And very quickly, I'm going to talk to Tony here very quickly. Yeah, 4Fs is simply faith, because we believe we can do all things through him who loves us. Family, because there's nothing more in this life more important than family. Food, because food is medicine. And fitness, because balance can be attained through a strong mind, body, and soul. So fitness is all a part of that, and we like to incorporate as much fun into that as possible. So the 4Fs are quite simply faith, family, food, and fitness. And God bless you, Tony. You sometimes don't agree with you guys, but that's the beauty of humanity. We can agree to disagree and not hate each other. You know, we can agree to disagree and not hate each other. And I think somewhere along the line, we lost sight of that. Somebody suggested to us that if you and I don't share the same opinion, that somehow makes us enemies. And I just don't accept that. I don't accept that. What a boring world this would be if everyone thought like me. It might be fun for all of a second, honestly. However, I'm such a curious guy by nature. And that's just, yeah, that's, at any rate.
Yeah.
How do you get past, because we all have toxic people in our lives, regrettably. I mean, it's the honest truth. So how do you get past the idea that I no longer want to be held in the narrative of my past. I no longer want to be defined by my past actions and my past mistakes. I'm trying by grace to be a better person. Mm-hmm. And you're being held in that narrative. How do you get past that?
Sometimes you just ignore the critics. And that is hard to do, especially if you're a people pleaser.
And anxiety will make you a people pleaser, won't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, anxiety will make you because mental health issues, right? Let's get right into it. Trauma, mental health, all of that. Yeah. Go ahead, sweetheart.
And that's, yeah, it's just that it's hard to say what other people think of you does not bother you, but deep down it really bothers you.
Of course, we're human.
So if people are trying to hold you to, what they feel who you are, especially from your past, then it's really hard to move forward and say, hey, I'm not that person, or, I've grown, I've done my, what is that word, rehabilitation. We were talking about this the other day.
Put in that sweat equity.
Yes.
Put in that sweat equity. I've done that work. Or better still, I do you one better, baby. I agree completely. But however, I will do you one better. Because I've heard it said that, the best, just live your life well. I mean, it's such a hard thing to do, to say that, how do I silence the critics? How do I silence the naysayers? I'm in a place where, oh my goodness, I mean, our old bishop used to say that God will take you from the guttermost to the uttermost. He says that people won't believe that. Is that Ian? Oh my gosh, is that? And I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very honest with you. There is that underlying desire within me, within my soul, to say, see, I told you so. I told you I wasn't that person. However, God knows. God knows. And as tough as that is, it's got to be enough sometimes. It's got to be enough.
It should be enough.
Yeah.
It should be enough.
However, I mean, I'm
know.
gonna say, because I mean, I hope that I'm talking to somebody right now. I hope that I'm talking to somebody right now. I hope that I'm touching something in your heart, because I've been in that place where it was just me and my addiction. And you say, again, Bishop used to say, when your back's against the wall, you got enemies behind you, enemies in front of you, enemies to the left of you, enemies to the right of you, and you just completely surrounded and you don't know what to do. It's only then that you think to look up. Thank you, Jesus. It's only then you think to look up. And it's okay. Because the reality and the truth of the matter is that you didn't even have to look anywhere because he was right there in the midst of it with you. Thank you, Father. So how do you get past someone working actively to keep you in what they believe is the narrative of your existence, your life, the person that who they, I mean, some people will even create a narrative of your life over decades. How do you escape that? I don't know that you truly fully can. I do know that you can just decide to just live your life. And yeah, by grace, you can decide to just live your life. You can. And I mean, yes, those individuals can and will and do traumatize and interfere and however, by grace, you know, we will only ever speak on our lived life experience. And so how do you escape that? I guess the message is just quite simply just to continue to be the change that you want to see in this world. Right?
I agree.
Because we do possess the ability within us inherently to manifest our own reality. That's something that I've learned this past year during this time that we're going through, is that I've learned that we do possess the ability within us to manifest our own positive reality by grace. We weren't abandoned to a life of misery or a life of servitude or any of those things. We can manifest our best lives. You know, and it doesn't take a whole lot, really. It just, you keep hearing that you change your mindset, you change your perspective, you change your life. That's a true thing. I can speak to that. Change your mindset, change your perspective, and you change your life. Who was it? Reverend Swindoll wrote a poem. It's called Attitude. And I'll just paraphrase it briefly. It says that, you know, he believes that 99% of what happens to us in this life is simply our attitude in regards to the things that happen. It's our attitude to what happens. I mean, there are things in this life, regrettably, we have no control over. I mean, you know, it's and even when we make a poor choice and a mistake and a poor choice and more poor choices, it's our attitude towards that. So if we are able to change our attitude, we are then able to manifest a more positive reality.
Yes.
What do you want to add to that, baby?
No, I was agreeing with you. Is that, yeah, our attitude is everything, because either you're gonna look for the blessing or the lesson, or because, you know, yeah, shitty things happen in our lives.
They do.
People leave us.
They do.
People hurt us.
They do.
And you look at it as like, are you gonna cry over somebody leaving you? You have to know your worth in those moments and say you deserve better.
Not easy.
Something, yeah, no, and I'm saying it's gonna be a process, because are you gonna cry for a week? Some cry for longer. Other than that, they're like, hey, why did I waste all those tears? But it's just all about your growth in that.
And that's a slippery slope as well. However, because, you know, when you're grief is such a personal issue. And I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, no one can tell you how to grieve or how long to grieve for, or what's appropriate, inappropriate. That's entirely up to you. You're going to take as much time as you need to take to get over whatever that grief is in your heart. I think what's important in that situation is that we face that grief. We have to look at it and
Sometimes it's abandonment issues, you know.
It can be anything.
Any root of trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually you have to look at it and not just
Ignore it.
ignore it,
Hope it'll get better, or
cover it with
hope
a
it'll go to
band. You
yeah.
know, I like that analogy I always use. Covering a bullet wound with a band-aid.
Right. Put
And you're
a
not
band-aid
actually
over a gun.
treating the wound.
Not actually getting at the bullet, and
Yeah.
so that bullet is going to continue to move. That bullet is continue to fester. That bullet is going to continue to do damage, and we continue to put bandages on top. And I mean, sure, yeah, bandages. A bandage will cover stop the bleeding for a time. However, the wound itself will eventually begin to fester, and eventually that's gonna pour over into your life, because I can't state this enough. Happiness is a choice. That is, I cannot state that. I cannot understate that. I cannot overstate that. Happiness is a choice. Absolutely. I mean, I stand behind that. And again, we'll never speak to anything outside of our own lived life experience, and most so my experience than my wife's. Is I'm more ready to talk about my journey, and she's not quite there yet. But yeah, happiness is absolutely a choice, and you see people put so much energy from time to time into being unhappy. And I would say this, I would ask you this: what is really and truly important? And ask yourself, what is really and truly important in your life? And I mean, you can say family and whatever the case may be, but however, be honest, because it's just you and God, right? What is really and truly important in your life? Right? And then I would ask you this: once you've identified that, I would ask you this: where do you put the majority of your time? Right? And even if you were to say the top three things that are most important, and then you label the top three things, the top three places that you put your time, and you say that if it doesn't line up, either A, you're not being honest about what's really important, or B, you're spinning your wheels and not really being productive. And I would suggest to you that, just try it. Have a look at that. And see if you're being, if you're following your heart. If you're following your heart, because we all do what we have to do. Yeah, we all do what we have to do from time to time. And I mean, how many of us are in a position where we're actually doing what we want to do? Life is such that we are often faced with tough decisions, and we have to put down a dream or lay aside responsibility, being what it is, and life gets in the way. I just encourage you to follow your heart. I found that my life has become infinitely much less complicated simply by rearranging my priorities. The things that seemingly I couldn't do without a few years ago don't hold a lot of value or weight with me today. That's just me rearranging my priorities. I asked myself what was really important, and the answer was God, family, my health. And so we started to manifest that.
Mm-hmm.
We started to manifest that. And it's
And-
work. Go
no,
ahead.
and I was
baby.
gonna say, and then you went back to your passion of food,
Hmm.
cooking. That was something you had put on a back burner, and like now it's actually every day you look forward to cooking us supper. It's like, what can I create today? And don't get me wrong, I'm not ever gonna complain because like tonight we're having ham and scalloped potatoes, but it just smells like a ham pie. I'm sorry, I don't know how to best describe it. It's like, yeah,
When you do, when for me it's easy. It's because I do for my family, and if I would do that for a stranger just for money. Oh my goodness, just for money. Wow. what would I then do for love, right? Yeah, I just unpack, uncomplicate, decompress, decongest your life. Simplify your life, even if you could, if you would, if you choose or not. You know, I mean, just live your best life, whatever that looks like. As long as you are able to live your best life, I am happy. It is well with my soul. You know, I ultimately at the end of the day, all I want from this is I want for everyone to have what I feel we have under God by grace. I would wish that for the world. I would. And I do. And I mean, the world is very complicated right now. Things are just so what is encouraging is because I'm such a people person. I just love the idea of just engaging and interacting with a complete stranger. And if you can put a smile on somebody's face, how rewarding that is. It is. It's uplifting for my spirit. It's been a difficult time. No one really wants to talk to anybody no more. You know? Nobody wants to really interact anymore. And I get it, I do. People are scared. And I won't speak on that at all. I have no opinion. People are scared. Do whatever you feel you have to do in order to feel safe. I insist on it. I just find it so unfortunate. However, it's encouraging because it seems the pervasiveness of the entire. It seems when I take a deep breath, as I just did, it's not as heavy as it once was. Just several weeks ago. You know, one is able to breathe and to just. And I mean, spring may be just around the corner. And with spring is just such a wonderful time. If you can get past the mud and the poop, goose poop, dog poop, all those irresponsible pet owners. If you can get past the mud and the poop, and my allergies, because pollen, if I could get past that, once you get past that, spring is my favorite time of year because it's new life, right? I have a feeling that, you know, God must have a special place in his heart for spring as well, you know, simply because it just represents renewal, renewing ourselves even. I mean, I was once in a sweat and I came out and it was just such a spiritual experience. Because the elder inside there had done such a great job of just the telling of the tales and so on and so forth, and you know, sharing the idea that, you know, it was to represent rebirth, right? And it was a beautiful summer day. It was just gorgeous, my goodness, and it was hot in there. It was hot. I came out, I just collapsed onto the grass. Oh my goodness, and it was just it was rebirth. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic experience. If you haven't tried it, and you have an opportunity, check it out. You know what? Try new things. Live a little. My son Jordan is turning 18. This is going to be complicated because he's turning 18. He's a Christmas baby. So he's turning 18 at the end of the year, and that's going to make it complicated. But for his 18th birthday, he said he want to go skydiving.
I don't know about the winter.
And that's therein lies it. So he's going to have to work it out. He's going to have to, maybe God willing, we'll be someplace hot and tropical and we can do it there, or we'll just have to do it either the following year, the following summer. However, he wants to go skydiving. So he asked me, he said, Dad, you going to come skydiving with me? Now, I should mention that the last time we were at the exhibition, the last time before the last time, because the last time we were there, We there was the new ride. There was that drop of fear, and you're a couple of stories up, and then you sit there and you drop, and ooh, yeah, it was awesome. And I had my dark sunglasses on, and I thought that it was so funny because this guy was walking by and he pointed at me, and he would just laugh. He bust out laughing. I thought, I mean, how much dread and horror must I have had on my face that he could see it through my wraparound sunglasses? He could see the sheer terror through my wraparound sunglasses because I was good right up until the moment that everything let go. The world just let go, and then all of a sudden that was it. Anyways, so skydiving. Dad, you gonna come skydiving? I'm like, I said, son, I'm thinking to myself, this is his 18th birthday. This appears to be very important to him. But the idea of jumping out of a plane, the idea of willingly, no less, willingly jumping out of an aircraft that is perfectly functioning. And I remember something that I saw, and it's attributed to Will Smith. I saw that it says that some of life's greatest experiences are just on the other side of fear. And I thought, dang. And I said, apparently, yes, my son and I are going skydiving for his 18th birthday. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'll keep you posted.
I probably won't make it there.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. However, wings of an angel, right? On the wings of an angel. I mean, I could wake up tomorrow and that is my, I don't, yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Baby, I'm gonna try. I mean, they might have to kick me out the plane. Yeah. He say in the movies, they say, okay, on three, ready? He say 1, 2. He say push him on 2 because on 3 everybody go like this. Yeah. So I think we gonna wrap up. So how do we want to wrap this up?
Just going back to the initial, is that, yeah, mistakes can be made, but they don't define you.
Oh, that's beautiful. You can choose not to be defined by your mistakes. And so the idea that you always have a choice and you may not like your choices, it's actually, even though you might not like your choices, it's actually not a bad, it's not a conundrum to be in. It's grace. I believe it to be grace. You might not like your choices, but you always have a choice. And one of those choices is to not be defined by your past mistakes. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's the beauty of grace. That's the beauty of grace. And finally, how do you get past someone or someone's, or even a group of people trying to keep you in the narrative of your past mistakes, in the narrative of your past? They won't allow you to grow out of those mistakes. How do you get past that? For me, again, grace. I took it to God. I took my cross to God. I laid it down at his feet. I said, I can't, this burden is too heavy for me. I've been carrying this shame. I've been carrying this guilt. I've been carrying this disappointment. I've been carrying this anger. I've been carrying this ridicule. I've been carrying this resentment. I've been carrying all these other people's ideas and ideologies of who I'm supposed to be. I've been carrying all of this weight for my entire life. It's become too much for me to bear. And I gave it to him. So how do you get out of the narrative of people trying to hold you in the narrative of what they expect you to be, or your past mistakes? Forgiveness.
And then also putting up your boundaries. You see them for who they are, and you just,
because some people don't
have a relationship with them. And it's like, I could forgive somebody, and I've forgiven people, but it doesn't mean I have to have them in my life. Because it's, yeah.
Love them from a distance.
Love them from a distance.
Love them from a distance. I heard it said, be careful of the company you keep, because a friend is a potential enemy with better position. And what's the last one?
I don't remember that.
Better position and ammunition. A friend is a potential enemy with better position and ammunition. So please be careful of the company that you keep. Don't allow anybody to keep you in the narrative of your past. Don't allow anybody to keep you in your mistakes. Forgive yourself and move on. God bless. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you again next time. All right.